Sir was the chairman of ISRO from 2015 to 2018. His achievements are endless and would go beyond today to convey them all. Sir embodies the idea that true leadership is not just about reaching the stars, but it is about bringing their light back home. Please join me in welcoming A.S. Kumar sir to the 4th Padma Festival on this November 6th for session number 7.
मी श्री महेश जी यांना विनंती करतो की डॉक्टर एस किरण कुमार यांचे शाल देऊन स्वागत करावे. डॉक्टर अनिताजी यांना विनंती करतो की ज्ञानयज्ञ फाउंडेशनचे स्मृतिचिन्ह देऊन त्यांचे स्वागत करावे. ज्ञानयज्ञ फाउंडेशन आयोजित चतुर्थ पद्म फेस्टिवलमधील सत्र क्रमांक 7 डॉक्टर एस किरण कुमार इस्रोचे माजी अध्यक्ष हे सत्र पुढे नेण्यासाठी श्री महेश सहस्रबुद्धे आणि डॉक्टर अनिता मुरुक्कर यांना मी सत्राची पुढील सूत्रे सादर करतो.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, all here.
Good afternoon. Some more sound. Good afternoon.
Yeah, that's better now. We are truly honored to have you, sir, with us today. You have been an inspiration to millions of Indians through your outstanding work with ISRO and your leadership in many of the India's proud space missions. Your journey shows us how dedication, hard work, and curiosity can take us to great heights, even to space. On behalf of all of us here, we would like to ask you a few questions to learn from your experiences and wisdom. My first question to you, sir, is what in your school and college days led and inspired you to pursue a career in space science and research? And who has been your biggest influencer and mentor in this scientific journey?
Thank you very much for this opportunity. आपको धन्यवाद ये मौका देने के लिए. आप सब बच्चों के साथ बातचीत करने का मौका दिया. If I look at my childhood, see, I am born in a place called Hassan, which is about 120 miles from Bangalore, midway between Bangalore and Mangalore. And Hassan is also known for many things, probably Belur Halebid for all the sculpts, and then Shravanabelagola, where there is a 58-feet statue of Gomateshwar, and it's also a place known as poor man's Ooty. So I was born in Hassan in a family. My father was an advocate and my mother was a housemaker. But apart from that, we come from a large family of 5 sisters and 4 brothers. And in our house, we also had children from my uncle's families, etc. In nearby estate, coffee estate, my uncles, their children also used to come and stay with us. So our house was almost like a chowdhury. We are a large number of people growing up together and enjoying. So we were born in a, you can say, joint family environment. One of the things that it shows you is how to share things and how to adjust with each other for various resources that are there, not always fight. Fight will be there, but then still over a period of time you understand that sharing is also very important. And at that time, because we were so many people, obviously you can visualize that parents will not have time for every individual to look at what they are doing 24/7. So we had a lot of freedom, unlike today's children where the families are nuclear families and then parents are forced to pay a lot of attention, not only because the number of children are less, but also because of the societal demand, peer pressure, etc. But we grew up in an environment where we had a lot of freedom, and then in schools, actually, we also had opportunity to participate in all kinds of activities. For example, I remember myself participating in recitation competition, debates, even drama. In one of the things, actually, probably I would narrate this. My brother's school day function, I had gone to that program, and there was a drama called Jarasandhavade, which was enacted by about 12 people for about 2 hours. After coming back from that program, I used to do mono acting of that drama. That means just interested in whatever is happening around, and sports was also a very active thing. We used to play cricket, badminton, table tennis, chess. That means engage yourself in all the activities and then try to do your best. And your question of whether space science, etc., was a point of interest at that time. The only thing that was interesting at that time was looking at sky, because light pollution was not there. You can see constellation, whether Saptarshi Mandal or Orion, etc. Trying to look at the constellation, how it is, and understanding that. And more than that, I remember one instance where there is probably we're all familiar, there are these mutts where people, Swamis are there. In one of the times I had gone to a mutt, this Swamiji took me to his antechamber. He pulled out from his drawer a Viewmaster. Viewmaster is a gadget where if you look at it, you will see three-dimensional rendition of images. Two films which are taken at a different angle. When you look at it from the Viewmaster, you create a 3D image of that. You can imagine this is in 60s. For the first time I'm seeing such a thing. It was such a fantastic experience to visualize. And similarly at that time, we also used to do a lot of experiments at home, because ours was you can say, tiled house. And then normally in any tiled house, there'll be some holes. So what you will do is close all the windows, and then through the tile, one shaft of sun will enter. So you reflect that sunlight onto a wall. And then in between, on a transparent paper, you write something. Then you can project it. Overhead projector concept in 60s we learned, because one of my elder brothers was very innovative. So what he had also done is, he had made a roll and he used to move it. And as the roll moves, then you can even create animation. See, for example, today you take a paper book, you draw that hangman, and then you flip the page, you will see that arm going up and down. So like this, you can see a lot of such experiment. And another brother of mine, he was very much interested in chemistry. So he had small beakers, potassium permanganate, sulfur, phosphorus, all that. So we grew up in an environment which was, in a way, and another very important thing is, in our house we also had kitchen garden, and we used to actually draw from the well water, filling up the tanks with that. That means a lot of work needs to be shared, and then it gives you experience of all things. And also one other thing my father, who was an advocate, was always telling is, see, dignity of labor. That means just because somebody is doing some work, you should not judge him by that. You judge him by the way he is doing the work. No work is menial. All works are equally good. So sweeping the floor to doing this. So that means this is a general environment in which we grew. And then since we had opportunity to experience all the different things, at that time, of course, cricket matches we could hear only in radio, etc. And so actually school days were really fun-filled thing. So at that time, there was nothing big going on, except that myself and my sister always used to read lot of things. Whatever book you get your hands on, you read. That way, I had finished by the time I completed 10th, the entire works of Swami Vivekananda, and Swami Vivekananda's book also had a significant impact on this thing. And to the question of who influenced you, probably one is Swami Vivekananda, another is probably I'll touch upon it later when I come back. One, Dr. H. Narasimhaya, who was a physics professor in our national college. He was another person who influenced my trajectory.
Thank you, sir. And I think family is the thing which motivated him to say that he can pursue career in many
any
areas.
field, etc.
So that is very important message he has given. I remember that once he said that initially he was interested in taking admission to medical sciences. but somehow, so we will like to hear the story from
Yeah, okay.
him
All right.
only.
See, what happened is by the time I completed my 10th standard, I decided I should study medicine. So I joined pre-university. That time it was only 1 year course. I had taken physics, chemistry, biology as the prime course. And in that subject, I also scored the highest marks in the university. So getting admission to medicine was a no-go, that means no-brainer. But then there was a rule at that time which said you should have completed 16 years on 1st of October. My date of birth was 22nd October. So I was falling short of completing 16 years by 22 days. So then I had to spend 1 year. So I thought this year I'll spend and next year I'll join. But even since I was in Hassan, National College in Bangalore was a well-known college at that time. Even for pre-university, my desire was I should study there. But it did not happen for various reasons. I completed my PUC. So now since we had 1 year, at that time it also so happened that the National College started physics honors after a gap of many years. So Bangalore University started physics honors in 4 colleges. One of them was National College. So I said, I'll join there, spend 1 year doing this. Next year, I'll go back and join to medicine. So I joined that college in 1968. There, the principal was one H. Narasimhaya, who later on became vice chancellor and all that. He was a physics professor, and he had done his doctorate from Yale University, Ohio University, and then nuclear engineering. But he was actually a person who wears dhoti and all that kind of thing. Societally, he was a bachelor, and his understanding of what a person should do for society influenced us so much that by the time I completed first year, I dropped the idea of continuing in going to medicine, and then I continued in physics honors, then did MSc in electronics, then MTech in physical engineering from Indian Institute of Science, and then in 1975 I joined ISRO. And in fact, what happened in that institute is also an interesting thing. Today we talk a lot about interdisciplinary courses and all that. So at that time also, the physics department had this interdisciplinary course. You could join either from science stream or engineering stream. I joined from science stream. We did some minimum engineering subjects and some core subjects and then went ahead. So since that exposure of interdisciplinary thing is what gave me an opportunity to do well in ISRO. So that's how my becoming a doctor got changed to becoming a scientist.
Thank you, sir. Yeah. Emphasis on multidisciplinary aspect is a key nowadays. When you joined in 1975 ISRO, you were working on spaceborne electro-optical imaging sensors and instruments. Now, we know we have 5 senses, but what these sensors or instruments do in satellites?
Yeah. See,
Can you
narrate that? Okay. See, basically, human system, if you look at, we explore our world based on the 5 sensors we have. That means any observation you want to make, you need to build an appropriate sensor. So in space technology, maybe I'll just give a small narrative of the India's space growth up to that point and then take forward. See, actually, India was a fledgling democracy when the first object was put into space. Anybody can tell when was the first time humanity put an object into space? And who, which country put it? You have heard of the name Sputnik? Russia? So Russians for the first time put Sputnik beyond Earth and it orbited around Earth in the year 1957. When did we get our independence? Somebody should answer. When did we get our independence? Which year? Yeah, very good. So 1957 is how many years after our independence? Yeah, 10 years. So you all know India was a country which was actually controlled or ruled by foreigners for centuries. When they left our country, when we got our independence, what would have been our problem? India was struggling to provide food, shelter, education to its citizens. And at that time, if somebody were to tell going to space can make a difference to India, would you have agreed? Anyway, maybe I'll go forward. At that time, so there were great visionary scientists like Dr. Sarabhai who were looking at how this technological capability of putting an object into space can make a difference to India in its growth trajectory. See, obviously, one of the key things is you should be able to communicate with everybody in the country. So in 1957, if you look at, the ability to communicate was very limited. It has to be either through letters or telegrams or this kind of thing. And even phones, etc. were very limited. And at that time, the entire country, if it had to be linked, it would have been possible only with satellites, because if you visualize, suppose you want to see farther and farther objects, what will you do? You will go to higher and higher places. If you go to a high pedestal, you can see far away distances. So same way, from Earth, if you go to a height of 36,000 kilometers, that means beyond Earth, if you go to a height of 36,000 kilometers, that object actually takes about 24 hours to go around Earth. And in 24 hours, you also know Earth rotates about its own axis, and then that's how you get day and night, isn't it? So, if you are on a point on equator, this satellite will look stationary to you, because the relative velocity between you and the satellite is zero. Many times when you are going in trains, if there is an adjacent train going parallel to it, you will see it is almost stationary. It looks in the same position for you. So this satellite can look at 1/3 of the globe continuously. That means if you can look at continuously, you can do what is called line of sight communication. That means right now you are able to hear me because what I am saying is reaching you, because your ear is able to listen to the voice I am generating. So this methodology is called a line of sight communication. So if you put a satellite at 36,000 kilometers, you can cover 1/3 of the globe, and you can also cover entire India. So what Dr. Sarabhai was trying to do, because by using this space technology, we can cover the entire India by broadcasting. So in 1975, India conducted an experiment called SITE, Satellite Instructional Television Experiment. What was done in this is, at that time, for 1 year, borrowing a satellite which Americans had built, one of the advanced technology satellite, and that satellite had to be moved over Indian longitude, because if you put it over America, since we are on the opposite side of the earth, we cannot see that satellite. So that satellite was brought over India, and for 1 year, using that satellite, using some technology which you are all very familiar today. How do you see your television today? There is a small rooftop antenna which is 1/4 meter, about 250 millimeters. There is a set-top box on your table and a television. So the antenna picks up the signal, passes it to the television, and you are able to see. This is called direct-to-home television. You can imagine in 1975, in India, only 4 metros had the privilege of seeing television program, that too by terrestrial towers. And those were Chennai, that is Madras, Bombay, Calcutta, Delhi. No other place had a provision of seeing television. So what ISRO did at that time was borrowed this satellite from America and conducted an experiment called SITE, where a 10-foot diameter antenna was built and almost half a rack of front-end electronics, black and white television sets of ECIL, using that direct-to-community set, which later today became direct-to-home television. Concept was demonstrated at time. In fact, this was a forerunner, and for the first time such an experiment was conducted in the world, and India demonstrated that developing countries can take advantage of advanced satellite system for rapidly bringing communication and broadcasting. So the television in 2,400 remote villages of our country, this experiment was done, and the powers that be, that means Prime Minister and all that in Delhi, they realize what they are speaking in Delhi can be heard all over the country through this mechanism. Now you can easily visualize, do you require much more convincing for a project to get approved? So that's how India started using technology. Not only that, at that time, for example, if super cyclones were coming, what they would do, they will kill tens of thousands of people, because in the coastline, you don't know when the super cyclone comes, and when it comes, it has a devastating effect. But by using satellites, we are able to see cloud motion, and then today predict which coastal region, when and what time cyclone will come. By this information, disaster relief agencies are able to evacuate them and save their lives. That's why in the recent past, none of the super cyclones have resulted in loss of life, but means human life. But lot of other damages still remain, but at least human life is saved. That means here you can see India started developing space technology with the primary objective of providing broadcasting and communication and weather monitoring, and that's how India was the only country which started doing space activity for non-military. Otherwise, everybody else started. America and Russia were competing with each other, trying to demonstrate who is more mighty, who is more stronger, etc. But at that time, our scientist, Dr. Sarabhai, his idea was, how can we use this new technology for improving the country? That means broadcasting, communication, then weather monitoring, like that step by step. Today you have a host of such things being done. So this is the background. In 1975, when I joined ISRO in Ahmedabad, this site experiment was one of the key things that was going on. And apart from that, my own career, if you ask, I started working on building cameras for operating in the satellite. Now what does a camera do? See, now I said, if you are in an orbiting satellite, you can look at Earth, and if you take a picture of that, then again after some time you can come back to the same point and take a picture. See, if you take two pictures, you can find out what changes are taking place, and then you can also find out what plants you are growing, and whether, in fact, we have done a lot of work where you can identify where you can drill a bore well, like that, a host of things. That means building on satellites cameras which can take pictures and transmit those signals to ground, and in ground station convert them back into picture either on a photographic film or on a TV screen and use them. So that's how I started my career. My first camera we built, we were taking a picture of 340 kilometers by 340 kilometers with 1 kilometer resolution. Very poor thing. But then today we have reached 30 centimeter resolution, and then we can cover the entire globe. Not only in our own visible wavelength, but we can cover in a whole lot of wavelength.
Sir, every person has some issues during the start of the career in any field.
Yeah.
We would like to know what challenges you have faced in initial stages of your career in ISRO.
Okay. Yeah, now you can see, like I said, India started its space program with the primary objective of addressing the problems we are facing. So at that time in 70s and all that, if you see, unlike today, even information availability is very much restricted. And also this area of work is a strategic area. No information is easily available. All that you know is, okay, satellite can be built and satellite can do this. But how to translate that knowledge into action, where you have to do by your own trial and error some activities, and no information is available, no journal gives you all the thing. You have to build step by step. So you have to use the material that is accessible to you and then build the system. So the very first satellite we were building, to some extent, we were helped by Russia, saying that they said, we will launch a satellite for you. And then what a satellite is there is known. But then when we are building, we do not have all the information. So we have to do your own figuring out thing. And obviously there will be a lot of trial and error. And then you will make multiple mistakes. And then failures occur. And this also, if you see, the very first camera we had built after launching, on the day you started operating it, first time we switched on the camera for taking picture, it did not send pictures. There were a lot of problems. But then we started doing simulation on ground and then tried to find out what was not properly operating. And then after 1 year of struggle, we found out by doing simulation on ground. Simulation on ground means create an identical equipment, put it to test condition which is similar, and then see what is happening and change your settings to receive. So after 1 year, we found out how to operate. So in 1979 when we launched, the camera was not giving us picture. But in 1980, we went back to the ground station, we gave the command, then we started receiving the picture. So your initial problem is your knowledge base is limited, and today what you know, if you are using that for performing anything, obviously you cannot do more than what you know today. But India is trying to reach something which nobody had done in India at that point of time. So obviously you have to go beyond your current knowledge and skill. And when you do something beyond your current knowledge and skill, failure is a guaranteed thing, not success. So that means you should be ready for accepting failure and overcome the failures and over a period of time succeed. So that is the lesson. Very first experiment also showcased to us that unless you push yourself beyond your current boundaries, you cannot take India to the levels you want. So that is continuing. You saw even in Chandrayaan 2. First time when we were doing something, we fell short. But then we learned from all the problems and succeeded in 23. So this is the key.
From 1979, where the first satellite was launched by ISRO, what you mentioned, and in 2024, ISRO themselves have launched multiple satellites at a time, making a world record.
Correct.
And the whole thing, I mean, you was a part of ISRO
during that time.
During that.
Yeah.
So what is your feeling about 1979 and 2024, where multiple satellites have been launched in one single vehicle?
Correct. No, this is where, like I said, one of the key things we are all the time trying to work on is, see, the resources available to are limited, but using those resources, address problems we are facing. I'll give you a couple of examples. Like I said, site experiment, we did the first broadcasting. So we built in 1981 in INSAT program, where the satellite was single satellite capable of taking images for weather monitoring, doing broadcasting, and doing telecommunication. All three functions were incorporated in a single satellite. Till that point of time, people had built separate satellites. Because we cannot afford multiple satellites, multiple launches, we decided we will build one such satellite and make it work. And then initially, of course, since we did not have at that time wherewithal for building, we got it manufactured in an American company. But first generation we did like that. Second generation onwards, INSAT 2 onwards, we are building our own. So you saw just few days back, we launched a 4.4 ton satellite, which is going to provide us communication capability over the ocean region. And this satellite is exclusively meant for Navy applications, like that. That means you went on building capability step by step and then meet the requirements of the country. So initially it was about weather monitoring, broadcasting, communication. Then during Kargil time you had a problem of navigation. So we decided to build our own navigation satellite. And then as you have very friendly neighbors, you also need to know what is happening around you. So you started building satellites which can monitor those areas. So that means you progressively you keep on building capability from what you have, move to the next level. Again, launch vehicles, if you look at, while initially we launched our satellites from others, we started building our own launch vehicle. And the first launcher was like a sounding rocket is a kit. In 1963, Dr. Sarabhai convinced his friends across the globe and told them, we have a very unique place in Tumba, which is a geomagnetic equator. If at that time you do research, it is beneficial for the scientific community. So with that in mind, sounding rocket was brought in the form of kits, got it assembled and launched. This is the starting point. Then gradually we built our SLV, PSLV. Today we have many different versions of the rockets which can take, very soon it is also going to take humans into orbit and then humans to moon, etc. So all this is step by step pushing your frontiers and then improving on your current skill set, and with the limited resource that you have, move ahead. So that's how ISRO has shown to the world that resource constraint is never a real constraint. If you make up your mind and put your focused effort, you can achieve anything you want.
So you have been part of several landmark missions by ISRO. Which one is closest to your heart and why?
Yeah. Okay, if you see in that sense, what I would say is there is no one mission which is very, because progressively we went on pushing the barriers and then started providing better and better solution. For example, in the first generation, the cyclone monitoring system, VHRR, what was there, was built by an American company. But in Ahmedabad, we started building that instrument called Very High Resolution Radiometer. So in 1992, when this satellite went up in Sat-2 series, at that time, when this camera was turned on, we were able to get the entire cloud picture of Earth. And you can see what impact it has got. It is able to tell when the cyclone will come, it will save the lives of people, etc. So when that started operating, you felt, yeah, what we have done is going to do a great job. But then similarly, if you look at, we started when the Kargil, etc. came, we wanted to get 1 meter resolution images. But at that time, we did not have. We started working on that, and we built a satellite which with a very unique capability. And with the limited resource we had, we started producing 1 meter resolution images. That was a high point at that time. Then, like I was telling you, if you look at that ViewMaster, you get the 3D view. In fact, we built a camera which is operating on the satellite in 2005 onwards. 2 cameras which take images of Earth in 2 different angles. And by fusing them, you can generate third dimension. For example, when pilots fly over a neighboring, let's say, hilly region, they can be given a fly-through of that region, even before they actually fly there. Similarly, when you want to do city planning, you want to know what is the elevation differences. So this particular camera can provide digital elevation model of the entire country. Not only the country, neighboring places, etc. So like that, if you see, every new project we were doing, in fact, one more very interesting thing is, like I said, when the first launch took place from India in Tumba, at that time, sounding rockets had to be launched from a beach. There probably many of you have seen a dilapidated church in the images. Today that church is actually a museum. The priest of that church had to be brought into service to explain to the fishermen that you allow us to conduct this experiment, one day the country will benefit. So later, what we started doing in 99, by an orbiting satellite, look at the color of the ocean in 8 different wavelengths. And by looking at the color, identify chlorophyll. And from chlorophyll, food chain of the fish, finally you tell where in the ocean fisherman is assured of getting fish catch. So 99 onwards, we were able to provide this information to the lakhs of fishermen in this country. This act alone saves to the country between 10 to 15,000 crores a year, because the fisherman doesn't have to spend extra time searching for fish. Petrol and diesel he spends is reduced. Now to this we added one more capability with our Navik satellite. A small battery operated gadget is fitted to the boat of the fisherman. This gadget receives the signal from our Navik, and like your mobile tells you where you are, this gadget tells the fisherman where he is in the ocean. Then there is an app in the mobile which tells the fisherman, using this information and the broadcasting information of the prospective fishing zone, in a video compass mode, it points to him where he has to go for the fishing. Not only that, if in the coming days, if the weather is going to be very heavily windy or cyclonic or sea state is going to be unbearable, in his mother tongue, the mobile alerts him telling your situation is going to be bad, you return home. So that means now you see what is happening. A fisherman who does not know reading or writing is using the most advanced technology of a rocket putting a satellite into orbit, and with a gadget in his hand, he is able to assure himself of livelihood and safety of life. So this is the real challenge which ISRO has overtaken and demonstrated to the world, that space technology usage is not just rocket being launched, etc. It is for the purpose of providing better living conditions to its citizen in terms of communication, broadcasting, knowledge about what is happening around. And today there are a whole lot of changes occur. So if you want to know what is happening on Earth, obviously if you are able to make continuous observation, you can fit it into models and then predict. So in all this is the thing. So when you ask the question, which project is more interesting, this thing, then each time it shifts, it's a shifting goal. Then when, for example, Chandrayaan 1, I'll also narrate that. See, when we did Chandrayaan 1, man had already landed on moon. Large number of probes had touched the surface of the moon. But still, what is the credit Chandrayaan 1 got? For the first time, it showed to the world presence of water molecules on the moon, and then the process of water molecule formation became an explanation only because of this satellite. So what is this satellite showing? It is never too late in science and technology. There is always something new to be done. And if you make up your mind, you can do that, you can go ahead of others and then demonstrate. Similarly, if you look at, initially we were taking the help of Americans, Russians for starting. But then on the 30th of July this year, we launched a satellite called NISR. This is the world's most sophisticated satellite. It generates information about the Earth. If you take up the total data, it is more than all the satellites put together. Plus, like for example, human beings you want to monitor, you will measure pulse rate, heartbeat, ECG, like that, many things. Yeah. This satellite, in a way, can measure many parameters of the Earth at a regular periodic interval. Every 12 days, the entire Earth is covered and this data is collected. Great. And this data can be used for a whole lot of future predictions. Yeah. Cyclone, not only cyclone, even earthquake, many things. But then this satellite became a reality because America was ready to work with India on a common basis. See, when they were giving us use our satellite, if India launched this satellite, the technological growth what you have done, when do people recognize you? You are also very familiar. If you simply claim, I am capable of doing that, will they accept you? But if you demonstrate what you are telling, demonstrated capability is what gives you credence. And India demonstrated by virtue of its Chandrayaan mission and SAR mission that you are at a level comparable with others and you can work on multi-billion-dollar programs on a In fact, this particular mission, if you take, you will be happy to know, total money spent on this is about $1.5 billion. Out of that, India is spending only 1/10. And the payload built by America is part of our satellite, and we have launched the satellite, and this data is also being made available to the global community. So you can see that you have built yourself a credibility which is of international levels and standard. And then when, for example, our lander touched down on the surface of the moon, 23rd August. In fact, that was also a great moment because something you have built, etc., over a period of time, it is able to sit there and then collect data and send it back to you. So I would say each new mission we are doing, our next lunar mission, we are going to pick up material from moon and bring it back to Earth. So like that, each one is a higher complexity than the previous one. But then satisfaction wise, if you see that when this data is being used for saving lives, for providing specific information to the fishermen, our agriculturists, a whole lot of things which is happening, that gives you satisfaction.
यहाँ पे किसी ने मिशन मंगल ये पिक्चर देखा है?
Yeah.
सब ने. किसको याद करते हैं? किसे याद रखते हैं आप? उसमें से कौन याद, आपके सामने अभी पिक्चर आया होगा ना, किसे आप याद करते हैं? किसे? उसे ही? अक्षय कुमार को ही याद करते हैं?
He is the key actor.
Vidya Balan, somebody say. Vidya Balan. Yeah. So this Mangalyaan and Chandrayaan, sir, women scientists have played a prominent role. बहुत काम किया है उन्होंने in these two projects like Mangalyaan and Chandrayaan.
Yeah.
So how do you view their contribution in a space program?
Yeah, one of the things what you can see in ISRO, if you look at, we really do not distinguish between the various genders that way. It is purely
Great,
their ability to do and perform. In fact, you can see ISRO has the maximum percentage of women working in various scientific activities. They have risen to the levels of project managers, project directors, mission directors, and unit directors, etc. So, in fact, they are equally capable, and depending on how they have evolved, their ability to contribute is no less than any other individual. They have contributed very significantly, and their capability is also getting equally recognized, you can say. Yeah, one of the things is, then I would like to take them through one little journey where I want to bring them to their awareness of the world. And see, today we are talking about all these cameras or systems, etc. What are we trying to do? See, if you get up and if you start looking around, you are able to see the world because of what? Eyes. Because you have eyes, you are able to see what is happening around you. Similarly, what other sensors you have using which you are able to experience the world? Anybody wants to tell? Yeah, you can get up and tell. Go ahead, yourself, with the waistcoat. Why don't you tell? How do you hear? How do you hear anything? By ears. Yes. So you see by eyes, hear by ears. Like that, what other sensors you have? How many sensors you have? Okay. All of us have 5 sensors. Ears, eyes, smelling, nose, then taste, and then touch. Correct? So using all these 5 sensors, you take inputs. Now similarly, if I ask you, how do you do any activity? How do you walk? By legs. So you have legs. How do you work? Hands. Correct. How do you speak? Is it only mouth? Think about it. Is just the mouth that is doing the role of talking, or something more is required? A complete mechanism is there. You have to think about it. A complete mechanism is there which starts generating the sound and then passes it through the passage. Your mouth does the modulation. Your tongue moves up and down. Certain sounds you create. That means there is a whole lot of mechanism. By using sound, you are able to communicate to the world. What you are thinking or what you want to answer, you can tell using your mouth. So similarly, you have 2 other organs using which you are doing your external functions. Anyway, I will not ask that question right now. It's a homework for you. You find out. We have 5 Gnanendriyas. That is 5 sensors. That all of you answered. We have 5 Karmendriyas. Out of that, 3 we identified. 2 more are there, for which I'll leave it as homework for you. But then I'll take you to a slightly different domain. We are all seen robots, right? You have seen a robot? Okay. Can you tell any example? This one you consider it as a robot? Is washing machine a robot? Okay, now you just look at washing machine, what it is doing. You put cloth into that, you switch on, then it will go through a sequence. It knows how to rotate the cloth, how to draw water, how to draw detergent. All this it will do in a sequence. What in that washing machine is doing this total processing? There is one controller, correct? That controller, from the time you turn on, sequentially operates everything. So this robot system has a controller, sensor, actuator. Now controller has to give instruction, then only the actuator will work, correct? So you must also have heard of waiter robot. You go to a hotel, waiter robot comes to you, it asks you, what do you want to eat? Masala dosa, idli, vada, pav bhaji, like that. So you tell, so it goes back to a service station, picks up that, brings it back and gives it to you. So that robot has hands, legs, controller, listening capability, seeing capability. So there is a controller which is operating. So my robot has actually these elements. Sensor for observing, controller for giving instruction to actuator, actuator for performing. So human system is also like a robot. We are all endowed with sensors, we are all endowed with actuators, we are endowed with a control system which makes sense of the input and then tries to determine what action we should do. See, for example, majority of you learn what language? Your mother tongue. What is your mother tongue? What is my mother tongue? I am from Karnataka, Kannada. If both of us were in Germany, what would have been our mother tongue? Yeah. Now you think about it, why is it happening like that? Suppose I say, when you entered this world as a child, all these 5 sensors are there with you. Your controller is simply listening to the sound around you. Some sound is going on, but your eye is also seeing how people are responding to those sound, how they are behaving. Your controller is trying to mimic that sound by generating appropriate instructions for the vocal cord system. So that's how slowly you start learning, reproducing that sound. So that's how you start learning your mother tongue, because that is a language that is spoken around you. If instead of only Marathi, you are listening to Marathi, English, Hindi simultaneously, what would have happened? Many of you know more than one language, even at home, isn't it? Anybody who can stand up and tell, I learnt more, and other than Marathi, something else also? What languages you learnt? Go ahead. Or he was yawning. Anybody who can tell you have learnt more than one language during your childhood? Yes, sir. Yeah, later. No, I am looking at even earlier.
At home,
At
he
home.
is asking.
See, today, lot of cases are there where parents speak one language, husband speaks one language, like the different things are there. But the point is, if you listen to more, your system will be capable of repeating it and generating it. That's what I wanted to tell. That means those who are exposed to more stimulus earlier, they are able to pick up. So similarly, you look at how did you start getting up and walking? all of you started observing what is happening around you, and your controller started mimicking it. So if I say all that is happening within you is your controller is trying to mimic what is happening around you and evolve yourself. That's how you are learning. How many of you know cycling? Only this many? Cycling. Very good. Now, before you learnt cycling, how easy was it? Yeah, yourself. Can you stand up with specs? Yeah, yourself. Can you? Very difficult. You learnt over a period of time, multiple times, falling, getting up, etc. But after you learnt cycling, while you are riding, you can be thinking about what is there in home today, what is going to be my snacks, or who is waiting. Like that, many other things you can do, isn't it? So cycling has become a activity within you which you can perform without putting too much attention to it, isn't it? So your system is capable of learning and internalizing it and then making it a practice. That's how it goes. So my point of trying to tell you is only this. You can sit down. So all of us are endowed with these 5 sensors, actuators and a controller, and by virtue of what stimulus we get, we keep learning. That's where when they say provide better stimulus, better environment to the child, all that you are trying to tell is give them an opportunity to explore themselves. And by giving them opportunity to explore themselves, they are able to internalize that and then learn. Somebody learns music, somebody learns cricket or football, whatever it is. All of them, they start making a perfection by practice and this. So another thing is, in one of the sessions like this, I had met a 13-year-old girl who had already climbed 5 of the 7 topmost points on earth. And then she had promised to herself, by the time she becomes 15, she will climb Mount Everest also. Some of you would have read last year, a girl by name Kamya climbed Mount Everest. Anybody read? May not have been. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But she completed. Similarly, I came across a person who had cycled across America in few days. And then one born blind person, you ask him a question, 10 digit by 10 digit, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. By the time you ask the question, he is ready with the answer.
Oh, great.
Probably you also have heard of Shakuntala Devi, walking computer. Yeah.
Her also.
Yeah, correct. So that means the intrinsic capability of individuals are enormous. Now, how much of it you bring into reality determines your journey in life. So similarly, Swami Vivekananda's story also probably many of you would have read. Story goes something like this. One priest or monk goes to a library, takes a book from that library, and then every day he'll bring back that book and give back to the librarian. Librarian asks this monk, you are taking such a big book, within one day, obviously you cannot be reading it, you must be simply flipping the pages and bringing it back. Is it like that? Then the monk says, no, I am not reading, I am taking it for another person. Then the librarian says, maybe that individual is doing like that. Then he says, he goes and tells, he had taking it for Swami Vivekananda. Then Vivekananda says, okay, let's go to the librarian. Vivekananda comes to the librarian. Then he asks the librarian, you pick up any of the books you have given, ask any question from that. So the librarian brought one book, asked a question. Vivekananda answered not only the question, it also told which page, what line, like that. Went on as taking many books. Then finally librarian said, Arey Baba, maaf karo mujhe, aap great ho. Then, but the point is, an individual is capable of remembering things, infinite capacity is there. Similarly, there is a whole lot of capacity in each one of you. Every one of you have entered this world with such tremendous potential. Now, how much of it you bring to reality depends on you. Depends on what you want to do and how you want to do. That's where you are all explorers of this universe. You are exploring with the 5 sensors given and an asli intelligence which we are now trying to create outside as artificial intelligence. I'll also give a couple of examples which will make this point very clear to you. See, human beings, when they started life on earth, were finding it very difficult to survive because they had to fight against bigger animals than them. Isn't it? There were much bigger animals. So how do you think they managed to survive? What did they do? You have read this in your books and stories, etc. Anybody wants to take a chance and explain? What did humans do to overcome the bigger animals which were so large that they were finding it difficult to fight with them using their hands? Yeah, correct. So the first thing they did was, because their hand is not strong enough, in their own experience also, when they are walking, for example, they fell down. When they fell on soft object, nothing much happened. When they fell on hard object, they felt the pain. They fell on needles, it even pierced, blood came out. So they realized that I can make use of this technique to impact to the animal and gain ascendancy over that. So they picked up a stone, they started hitting the animal with that stone, made it sharper, then like you said, picked up a stick, started fighting from a distance. Then some people realized how they can convert that stick into bow and arrow, fight with that. That means gradually what you could not do with your hand, you started doing by observing what is happening around you and develop the tools. So similarly, how many kilometers can we walk in an hour? Anybody want to take a chance? Can you walk 100 kilometers? Walking. Just by walking, how many kilometers in 1 hour?
Maximum
in
6.
1 hour.
Yeah,
5 to
around
7.
5 to 6 kilometers. But humans see around them many other life forms which move faster than them. So what did they do? They started domesticating them, riding them, so that what they could not do with their own legs, they could do by riding on the animals. So similarly, they saw birds flying. So what have they done today? You know what they have done. You have built machines to take you to air, rockets to take you to space. That means only what I am trying to tell is, humans are trying to take inspiration from nature. And then what they could not do with their own capability of sensors and actuators. Each of your sensors has a limitation. I can see only between 400 to 700 nanometers. But how many gadgets you have built to see the world in other wavelengths? Anybody can tell which animal can see in the night? Yeah. So today, what gadget do you use to see in the night? You have heard of infrared camera? So humans have built cameras which can operate in a wavelength region other than your eyes, so that you can be shown a picture of what is happening in nature. Similarly, with your bare eyes, how much of sky can you see? How small feature can you see? Today, what are you doing to see the sky? What instrument have you built? Yeah, to see small and small things, microscope. That means now you realize, what are humans doing? They are all the time trying to enable whatever sensors they had, whatever limitation it has got, how to overcome that limitation and learn new things. That means all the time inspiration has come from nature. You have animals which could see beyond what you are seeing. For example, similarly, radar you have heard of. So what animal is being mimicked in a radar? You have heard of echoes? Which animal makes use of echo for detecting? Bats. That means you built, you know some animals are doing that, you built gadgets for that. So that means you are looking at nature, you are getting inspired from nature. What nature is doing, you are trying to build yourself step by step you have done. And it has taken many generations. Today's generation, what all it has done, what you can do by your physical hands, how many gadgets have been built where hundreds of people's jobs are being done by machine? Correct? So what is the next level? After reducing your physical labor, what is human being trying to do? What is it trying to reduce? Which effort of yours is it trying to reduce? Anybody wants to take a guess? Try, it doesn't matter. If at the most what can be there, you will give a wrong answer. Beyond that, nothing else, no? Yeah, that means intelligence which is there, which is running you, how to reproduce that intelligence outside humans. When the first mechanical calculators came, it was trying to reduce the task of Karnik, etc. So then calculators came, computers came. As it became more and more proficient, you are trying to make your machines more and more intelligent. So what I am trying to say is, your asli intelligence, we are trying to mimic in artificial intelligence outside. No, it's only how you will build more and more competent machine. See, today, for example, when we are building a robot to go to Mars, what is our task? Whatever we have sent is on the basis of what knowledge we have of design. But whether it will survive in that condition or not, we don't know. But if it fails, we have built some fail-safe mechanism. But still, to make it work in that condition, I should know why it failed, and then incorporate an appropriate solution and send the next version. That means I have to build a new thing, launch it, put it there. It's economically difficult.
Means before sending a human being to Mars.
Correct. You should know how to keep the man safe, isn't it? Can you simply send somebody there? You have to bring him back safely. If you have to bring him back safely, you should know what environment is there. What environment is there? For that you have built a robot, send it there, make it do some work, and learn from that. But there also, the robot I am designing is limited to my knowledge. Yeah. If it encounters some problem which I am not aware of, I have to find out what was that problem, build a next version. Like this also we have been doing. But then ultimately aim is, you see here, how humans are operating, how humans are tackling their problems. Do they not have that intelligence which is making them solve their problems? So we are trying to build that feature in these machines. That's how the world is moving. But anyway, coming back to the basic point, each one of us have this tremendous capability of having these sensors, actuators, one asli intelligence which is running, and one memory which you are storing all your life content into that place and then using it. So how, if we start exploring this, if we start understanding how it works, we can do a better job of whatever we are doing. That is the key to the narrative.
What skill do you think will be the most important for the next generation of scientists?
The most important skill, according to me, is becoming aware of the self and the capabilities that they have, which they can use for building any new tool. See, for example, like I said, all that the humans are trying to do is, they are being challenged by nature. Nature is showing us so many things. You are trying to mimic that. In mimicking that, what are you doing? Your observation capability, if your observation is limited, you are building a more competent tool, more advanced tool. So today you are building microscope with a magnification of 10, 100, 100,000, million. So like that you are building newer and newer tools. All the tools are also built by humans. Why? Because they want to make better observation. So your challenge is to mimic the human system itself and evolve yourself, not only to comprehend nature, but also to live in a country. This is where the reality starts striking. Any new capability is used by humans to dominate over others. See, you saw early days, those who are physically strong were dominating the world. Might is right. Then one group of tribals found a way of doing archery. Then that group dominated over others. Then some more people find some other tools. They found wheels. Then they were able to move faster. Today we are finding ways to go to space. So there is one group of nations which wants to dominate. So like that, this is an eternal problem. But in all that, one is common, human being. So if you become aware of yourself and how to enhance your own capabilities, then you will definitely do. And it is here that India has made a huge difference. In fact, I can bring back the narrative to this event itself. Now, why is this event important and what is this event trying to do?
You this question.
Okay, I'll bring that and bring that narrative. See, if you look at the world, humans, much of the Western thought process, science and technology, what it is driving, majority of the people think this entire world is meant for humans. Human being is dominating and he is doing so much of destruction in trying to bring into reality what he wants to achieve in the name of development. But COVID taught us one thing. What did COVID show us? Human life depends on a whole lot of other life forms. Human life depends on nature. If you do not respect nature and if you do not respect other life forms and if you try to dominate on that, disaster is the only thing that will happen. So this land showed to the world all the time. Why? Because in this narrative of robotic system I was telling, your ability to comprehend the external world depends on how you are using your sensors and controller. But if the same thing you try to understand yourself, probably you can understand the universe much better. What this land showed is that path of trying to look inwards and then trying to comprehend the universe. Probably, like Swami Vivekananda has said, whatever is there to be known in this universe is present in you. If you uncover, actually, though it may be little high and for this audience, but I would still go through this narrative to tell. For example, when we enter this world, what is the information set that we enter this world with? As a child, when a human being is born, see, today we are all familiar, mobile, no? When the mobile is a product of a production line, mobile comes with factory settings.
Yes.
So now if you want to change the mobile's functioning, you need to know what settings you have to modify. Then this mobile will do better function for you. So same way, if the human being also enters this world with a production line product and then entered this world with a certain information set, how can that platform perform better? So I'll give you an example. See, I was trying to tell you, when we build our robot, we are trying to find how to solve problems. We want to make sure that that robot survives in Mars environment, etc. If my problem is, if in that environment the robot is not going to survive, if it perishes, if I don't know what is the problem, I have to rebuild it without knowing. Next one also will have the same generic problem. So first thing is I should know what caused the problem.
Yes.
So I'll build some features in that. Then at least I know before it went into dormant stage, what was the problem. So same way, human system also, whether it has inherited certain information set which is available to the controller for operating that. Child, when it enters this world, does some minimum things, cries, moves its hand. That means, can we say commands required for that child to operate that actuators, certain minimum information set is known. But then it is trying to learn the new thing by virtue of its own experience. We already talked about learning language, getting up and walking. That means all this is new learning which it puts in one memory. Now there, in the other memory which it has inherited, there is probably information about how to run the internal system, how to operate it with minimum thing like factory setting. So if such a thing exists, what is that we need to understand? How to understand, it can take to a very different level. I will not venture into that. But this much is very clear to anybody who has used a mobile. Mobile comes with a factory setting. Like that, human beings also probably come with certain minimum setting. Here, basically, you have got an ability in this platform to learn new things, which is not inbuilt in this at that point of time. See, mobile only has a factory setting, and if you change it, it will change and operate. Whereas in human system, you are given an opportunity to learn all the time, evolve yourself. So human being is evolving all the time. And this is what we really need to appreciate. Our education system somehow does not pay enough attention to make the individual become aware of the basic elements and then allowing them to explore further.
But do you think that this new
Education policy is also trying to bring in experiential learning. It's only addressing one aspect, which says if you give different stimuli to the individual and you make that individual perform things by himself instead of simply listening, the ability to use this platform is better. See, suppose today, if the mobile is not there and then you are asked to perform some function, what happens? So today we are all becoming, we are becoming slaves of our tools, and if tools are taken away from us, we don't know how to survive. This is the challenge of humanity today. While science and technology brings newer and newer tools, newer and capabilities, everything, the human ability to perform and take care of this platform itself, already how much of our physical work we are not able to do. Tomorrow, if our mental work also we don't do, what do we become?
Yeah.
This is the most important message I think you would like to give.
Yeah, what we want to tell everybody is, use all the tools you want, but then you become the user, you decide what you want to do, and you take care of yourself. You keep yourself a minimum capability to survive under adverse conditions also. Because today what condition is going to come, you don't know.
Yes.
And if you get too much used to tools, and if suddenly all the tools are taken away, in fact, that is one of the things that is said, no, Carrington event.
Yeah.
If such a disaster happens, entire electricity is gone. What happens to human life on earth?
Yes.
See, there is one very good example. A tribal father and son are moving in a forest. There is one professor who is escorting them. Son climbs the tree. There is a beehive, and the son climbs the tree. He picks a blanket, puts it on himself. He picks the queen bee, puts on his shoulder. All the bees come over to his body. Then with the sickle, he chops off 1/4 of the beehive, which is picked up by the father on ground. Then the son puts the queen bee back, all the bees go back, he gets down. Now this management professor who is there along with the father, he asks him, why did we tell in our schools and colleges, you should maximize your return. Whatever you are doing, you should get the best use of it. Here I am seeing you are leaving 3/4 of the beehive there. Why are you doing that? Then the father tells this person, see, as it is, we are eating into the fruits of the bee colony.
Yeah.
We need to take the honey only for the needs of our children's medicinal use, etc. We should not over-exploit.
Oh.
This is what is this knowledge of this land is that all other life forms are also equally important for human life existence. COVID showed that very definitely.
Showed it.
And nature is very essential. If you over-exploit things, you get into disaster. Today, what is happening is all that. That is where
This
the
climate
thought process
change and
of
all,
this
it is
land,
happening.
what rishis and all munis have all done all the time is this. That is why this land is different from rest of the world. This is showcasing to the world, humanity needs to learn that it is not one-way progress that is important. You need to temper yourself. You need to pay attention to nature. You need to pay attention to other life forms.
Yeah.
You should not misuse it.
How do you see India's role in the global community for space science?
Yeah, this is where, this also again same thing. If you look at human ability, again, India is the only country which started space program for non-military application. But then, as you keep growing in your economic ladder, you also have to remain at the top. You cannot remain at the top if you do not have all contemporary skills and knowledge sets. Tomorrow, space is becoming a frontier. It's being already used for many things. So if you do not have the capability to put humans in space, have your own space station, land on moon by 2040, whatever we are planning, and even go beyond that, unless you build all these capabilities, you will not be able to be among equals. You will be dominated, and you will get back into another round of colonization. So if you do not want to get into such non-colonization situations, the only way is build your skills and capabilities in all domains, and look at what is required to be done ahead of others. And then for that, you have all this wherewithal, and you have the wherewithal to build newer tools and gadgets. Start doing that, you will achieve great things.
Recently, on 2nd November 2025, ISRO has launched CMS 03 satellite, and with the help of LVM3M5 from Sriharikota. Media nicknamed this LVM3M5 as Bahubali.
Okay.
So, what's the reason behind it?
No, one thing is, as far as the vehicle LVM3 was concerned, that was the highest capacity rocket we had built among the various versions. So it is more powerful. But again, if you look at the CMS 03, from India launching a satellite of highest weight.
Yeah, earlier we used to launch it from
somewhere else.
Foreign countries.
Yeah, for example, we have done 6 ton also, but that is not from within India, from outside. So this is the first time we have built and launched from within India. So we are building our capability. So now we are trying to build rockets which can launch up to 60 tons, 100 tons, etc. Because if you have to go to moon and come back, you need much more powerful systems.
So that's why this
name.
particular thing is very important from our research point of view. Right. And it is said that it is a multi-band communication satellite.
Yeah. For example, what it means is, like I said earlier, when you are doing communication, you are doing different wavelengths.
Yeah.
So in what wavelengths you use? Single wavelength, multiple wavelengths is multi-band.
Yeah.
So we are going up to Ka band in this.
Ka band.
Yeah, that means higher and higher frequencies. Even beyond that is optical domain. That means using lasers for communication. So one of the advantages, as the carrier frequency goes up, the amount of information you can carry in that increases.
Yeah. But most of the work is in C band, I think.
No, we already have KU band.
KU band.
Already we have. But this has got more capacity.
So what are the benefits of this multi-band satellite these days?
So it is like
how it will help agriculture or forecasting or like communication?
No, this is purely communication satellite. This is meant for Navy. For example, India has a large ocean. No?
Yeah.
When the ships are in the ocean, how to send all information collected from there to the mainland? You need to have encrypted, safety of service guaranteed. So this satellite has a coverage which is a different region, and it has got UHF like our radio.
Yeah.
So radio also, for example, medium wave, all that kind of thing, but there different wavelengths you can operate. So multiple things when you have, you can do parallelly many things. So if you have capability to do only with one system, if capacity is X, if you can do with 10 systems, it becomes 10 times more. That's how you are trying to build multi-systems for operation.
So you mean to say that there will be a separate satellite for every function, means for communication, separate
so that's why
satellite will
first
be
time
there.
when we said inside 2 series,
same
satellite could do communication, broadcasting and weather monitoring. So, but each function has some nuances. When you want to maximize that, you need to go to separate thing. Because this has got antennas which have to cover the entire ocean region and all that, which is not required for certain other activities. So we build different satellites for different cases. And again, if you go to geostationary, it can look at Earth all the time. But then it is distance so far away, you cannot get good resolution. You want to come down and operate.
Okay.
What advice would you like to give to India's youth for contributing to the nation?
One other thing we need to appreciate is, see, India went through a phase of physical slavery when colonials dominated and ruled this country for many centuries, etc. Today we are 75 plus years into independence. We have landed on moon. We are the 4th largest economy. All these plus are there. But still, if you look at whether what happened during the first industrialization, is it playing out today also, then the stark reality is very harsh. Today also, there is a kind of colonization which is going on, where what is being controlled is not your physical self. It is your mental self. Through your mental self, you are being controlled. The gadget you are carrying in your hand is being used to convert you into an aspirant of what is being produced, we are all becoming consumers of what they are producing. So this is a different level of colonization. If India has to overcome that, it has to do a whole lot of things while solving the problems it is facing today. See, while we solve the problem of poverty, you have brought it to a certain level, you are going to the next levels, etc. Still everything is not hunky-dory. There are still a lot of domination that is going on in a different domain. But then, are there no indicators of success for India? Yes, definitely it is there. COVID. What happened in COVID? India not only solved the problem for itself, but it also solved the problem for the world by bringing in solution not with economic benefit in mind. Similarly, digital stack today is like that. So tomorrow's children, if they have to visualize, they want to ensure themselves are safe, they need to do this.
Yeah. So we would like to hear a comment on Gyanyajnah Foundation's Padma Festival from you.
Yeah, one of the things is extremely important because people, when they work in different domains, they have spent their life, entire life in this thing. So what they have done, are there any lessons for others to learn and to tell that story to the children? It's not only children, others also important. So this process of bringing in those who have achieved some recognition in the society need to be explaining to people about that. So what
that
it is doing is a great
these people can get motivated for it. Audience, if you have any questions, you can ask. Yeah.
Yeah, the effort is to try and find out. So far, what we can say is not demonstrable or convincing proof is not there. Some things very close have occurred. For example, NASA is talking about what they found in Mars, etc. But this effort is on to find out whether the life in the form we know, whether it exists elsewhere, exoplanet studies, and obviously whether Earth is the only place where life exists looks very unlikely because the universe is so large that obviously it must be somewhere else. So we are trying to find out, but so far there is no demonstrable evidence, you can say.
This Drake's equation is there, Drake's and Fermi paradox are, these are opposite concepts are there.
Yeah, that's where, for example, if you do not know what you are looking for, even if it is there in front of you, you will not recognize it. So if there are other life forms for which you have no knowledge today, you will not recognize that.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, as you were the chairman of ISRO in 2014, what is the main hurdle you faced and how your team overcome with that?
Yeah, we had a lot of hurdles. Like I said, everything we are doing is beyond our current capability.
Yeah.
See, for example, we were trying to build IRNSS navigation satellite or a satellite. For example, 104 satellites we launched in one launcher. That time, when we started that program, see, it is the, suppose you have a truck for transporting your this thing cover. Whatever post you are doing, there is a cover. There is only a truck to transport it. So what you have to do, you have to wait for somebody to hire the truck so that you can take your cover along with that.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of small satellite manufacturers who were looking for opportunity to be carried to space. We had one satellite which was big, but not entire capacity of that launch vehicle. It was not going to be sufficient. So we were looking for some smaller satellite which could be accommodated. That's how we accommodated. When we started the program, we started with 68 satellites. But then we finished that program with 104 satellites because all the time we were trying to enhance the capability within the limitation and then make sure. But this requires a huge amount of work to be done. Obviously, you can see the rocket is going, or the satellite, that vehicle is going at 7 kilometers per second. You have to release 104 objects without each of them hitting each other and then safely entering into the thing. You have to do a lot of simulation. You have to make sure you give the right command set. So a lot of mission analysis is required. They were all being done for the first time. So like that, every activity you are doing is a new challenge. And then for that challenge to be completely successful, you have to make sure that you do test on ground, you simulate them, and then goes. So that is the real challenge of ISRO. It is not a repeat activity. What you have done next, what you are going to do next time is something different from what you had done earlier. So for example, launch itself, if you take, we started with 40 kg launching. Today you have seen 4,000 kg launching.
Yeah.
So each is a new challenge. So it's all the time, no matter who is there at the helm or wherever they are working, they are being pushed to beyond their current limits.
And sir, sometimes like our youth generation, upcoming generations, we feel like sometimes down. So how can you upcome those hurdles which are coming, like ongoing in process in any of the thing in our life?
No, that's where this is what you have to fundamentally realize. See, suppose you are asked to do something with 100% guarantee. What you are doing will succeed. How will you do that? You know some information today. You have some skills today. You will carry out that activity within this limit, isn't it? Your current knowledge and current skill. Then you can guarantee what you are doing is going to be successful.
Yes.
But if you do that, will you be ahead of anybody else?
No.
So if you want to push yourself, what is the challenge? You have to take yourself beyond your current knowledge and current skill set.
Like it's me versus me always.
Yeah, that means you have to do something beyond your current level. That means, is success guaranteed?
No.
That means you should be prepared for failures. But when that failure occurs, what should you do? You
Come
should
back.
start looking at what went wrong, how that what went wrong can be corrected. For that, there is a new learning. For that new learning, you can make use of all the things that is accessible to you. Maybe somebody has experience, talk to them. Maybe some other model. That means you are pushing yourself beyond your current level of existence. If you do not push yourself beyond your current level of existence, you cannot do anything better than what you are doing today. If that is understood, then it is up to you to what you want to do.
Thank you so much, sir, for inspiring us.
On behalf of Padma Festival, I would like to thank Kiran Kumar sir for the great session. Thank you and Jai Hind.